Lance Armstrong, the 7-time Tour de France winner and cycling legend, stripped, of course, of those victories. After years of lies and denials, sat down and opened up for the very first time since that life-changing admission to Oprah Winfrey back in 2013.
The last 6 years, in a lot of ways, has really sucked. It's been terrible.
A blunt assessment from Lance Armstrong, the cycling champion and cancer survivor, vilified for lying to investigators, the media, and fans for years about his use of performance-enhancing drugs. Armstrong was banned from competitive cycling in 2012 for life and stripped of his record 7 Tour de France titles after the U.S. anti-doping agency called Armstrong the ringleader of the most sophisticated, professionalized, and successful doping program that sport has ever seen.
I think people still, 6 years on, want to know whether you have been humbled, whether you are apologetic.
Funny, I get both sides of it. I get people that say he hasn't apologized enough, and then I get a lot of people that say, dude, stop apologizing.
For now, I just like a yes or no. Okay.
Armstrong first opened up about the controversy in a 2013 interview with Oprah Winfrey.
Yes or no? In all 7 of your Tour de France victories, did you ever take banned substances or blood dope?
Yes. That interview came at an interesting time and a difficult time, and maybe in a lot of ways came too soon. But I knew that I was going to be facing 4 or 5 different lawsuits. At that point in my life, I wasn't going to be able to lie. I was going to have to be honest.
Did you think it worked?
No, I don't think it worked. I think it absolutely did not work. For half of the room, it wasn't enough. And then for the other half of the room, it was way too much.
We have Dennis, we have Gary, we have...
Everyone had an opinion, even Donald Trump, then hosting NBC's The Apprentice.
Donald Trump, the morning after, wrote, "Lance Armstrong did himself great harm last night. Lawsuits and failure will follow him." Did you see that?
I did see it, yeah.
What did you think when you saw that?
Listen, you have to remember, I mean, this is 6 years ago, so he was just Donald Trump was just a loudmouth, out trying to get attention. I mean, he's right. He's half right. He's going to cost himself a lot of money, right? We know that happened. In a lifetime of failure, but I don't feel like a failure. And I've never felt like a failure since then.
Armstrong maintains that his actions were part of a rampant culture of doping in the sport of cycling at the time.
I read recently that you said if you could do it all over again, you'd do it the same way. Is that true?
What I would rather do is go back and win 7 in a row against everybody else that's drinking water and eating bread. That's what I would want. And I believe that would happen.
Armstrong believes that his high profile, partly due to the success of his nonprofit Livestrong Foundation, caused the blowback against him to be greater than it might have been for someone else.
I do think there's a double standard, but I'm okay with it.
New York Yankees star Alex Rodriguez, another prominent athlete who recently admitted to using performance-enhancing drugs, was suspended for a season, but later returned to the field before retiring.
A-Rod didn't raise $500 million and try to save a bunch of people's lives. I mean, that's kind of the irony in this. Look, it's great when somebody hits home runs and maybe does an event here and there for the Girls and Boys Club. This story held a place in people's hearts and minds that was way beyond those guys.
Armstrong is now focusing on building a new media brand, which includes hosting 2 popular podcasts, starting his own investment company, and spending time with his fiancée Anna and his 5 children. While he bristles at being called a fraud, he acknowledges he has a long way to go to make amends.
I don't know if it's fraud. You can call it whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter, right? I mean, it's fraud, betrayal, all of these things that we know people felt. That's on me, and I'll spend the rest of my life trying to make that right.
Andrew, it's a bizarre conversation because at times it's a mea culpa, but at other times it sounds like he's essentially saying, yeah, okay, I was bad, but these other guys were just as bad, if not worse. You've talked to him a number of times over the years. Do you think he's truly remorseful?
It's interesting because it has been a journey for him, and life is relative, because I remember speaking to him years ago, and he is in a different place than he was then. Having said that, he has tried to make amends and apologize on one side of it to the people that he lied and hurt. At the same time, there is still that element that you're talking about where he still feels that he is the victim, and I think that remains very hard for some people to hear.
All right. Sorkin for us there. CNBC's Andrew Ross Sorkin. Andrew, thank you.
Fascinating. Thank you.